Hey y'all, Craig Walker here from Subtle Energy Mechanics. Welcome to my page. Welcome back if you've been here before. Today, we're going to talk about a concept that one of my teachers by the name of Donnie Epstein, he put a book together called The 12 Stages of Healing. And it is a brilliant model for what the pathway looks like to go from just devastation, trauma, panic, fear, fight, flight, freeze. Just your stuff is falling apart and it has been forever. And what the heck do I do? And then you realize that you've got something or something's wrong with you, and then you go looking for, a doctor or a healer or something that you can do to help fix yourself. And you realize you've been doing that for years, and then you get a little bit of a glimpse of getting better, and then crash, and then you find something else and you get a little bit better and then crash, and you get into a job, it's going to be better, and then crash, and then a relationship, crash. And that becomes a pattern. You start to recognize a pattern. You play some role in that pattern. And how the heck do I break out of that pattern? You realize, like, at one point in your life, maybe you did. You broke out of that pattern. You look back, like, how did I do it? One of the things that you did was you got angry enough. It wasn't just love and acceptance and peace, but you actually had to get angry enough and commit to yourself and claim yourself. It's like, okay, almost like grabbing a baby that you found abandoned on the side of the road. And you know that you've got to get this baby to the hospital immediately. And you pick it up, and what's going to get you there isn't peace and love and compassion. It is anger. Love being expressed through anger. It's like, I am getting there, and this is what we got to do. And everything's getting out of my way. There's nothing else it matters on this planet other than me getting you to this destination. That's the first 4 stages of healing in Donnie's 12 stages of healing model. And here's this book, and I've had a bunch of them and sold a bunch of them when I was in practice. His model of healing was a chiropractic approach, and it was one that I based my practice on because it was the best thing that I came across, because of what played a huge role in me just finding a way to come back to life and actually feeling like I got off the roller coaster of up, crash, up, crash, up, crash, and feeling like I could actually get up to a place where I was stable and sane, and not just plateauing at a kind of an energy neutral place, which is way better than an energy poor place where you're diving down and worried about death and such, but actually getting better, finding what felt like my purpose, like why I'm here, which we should have been given when we were born into a tribe or a clan. The elders there can look and peer into us. They can see this gift that was just born into their tribe and clan and family, and see what gift this little being has and nurture it as you were raised. That's what your nervous system was expecting, actually, when you came onto this experience here. But many of us got something else. We were born into a different experience. So then, in this culture, we go to our school, and then we go to college, maybe, or maybe we can't. Even I certainly couldn't when I graduated high school. I was in no place to go deal with college. I dropped out after 3 months. Actually, I made it to Christmas break. And get this, I thought it was a great idea for me to take LSD for Christmas because I thought it would be so amazing. Well, as you can imagine, that plan didn't go so well. I didn't even actually make it to Christmas Day. I fully just fell apart. Um, yeah, I fell apart with that plan. So, where was I going? Yes, figuring out where you fell off. It's left to us to figure out where we fell off the trail, fell off the path, and how do we put Humpty back together again? And maybe with the few years that we have left, figure out how to regulate our nervous system so that we can come up to just a base level of safety, so that we can then come up for air and look around. If we're drowning underwater and we're doing that every single day, this doesn't mean much for us to think that we're out there giving our gift elsewhere. We just need to survive. So Donnie's book here, I would recommend you getting it if you can find it. Walks you through the path. Now it's a lot of work, but I love the fact that it lays out a map. I'm going to read you at the beginning of the book. I'm not going to read you the whole book here. Sorry. That ended back when my kids got to be like 8 years old. So at the beginning of the book, there's like a 1 paragraph listing of the description of each of the stages of healing. I'm going to jump all the way to the end, what stage 12 looks like. Talk about that for a minute. Because the feeling that I get when I read the stage 12, when I look back at what my path has been for the last 30, 40 years, it was that feeling. It was the feeling that comes from what I'll read to you in a second that really was pulling me through, that kept me going. Excuse me. Okay. Let's read it here, shall we? Okay, stage 12 is called community. We experience our involvement with humanity and recognize that wholeness comes from bringing our individual gifts into community. Well, that sounds great, but what the heck are our individual gifts, right? Have we been confused and contorted and we didn't necessarily get them from our parents or our peers? How the heck do we figure that out? Okay, well, that's what some of the first 11 stages are about. Okay, this occurs in our internal and external communities. This, I think, is important. When you've watched me do the work, this work, with somebody on the table, and you can see their spine moving in this nice ways, then I witnessed this and didn't know what it was that I was looking at. And I had to ask myself the question, what if this is normal? Because something in this is very intuitively validating. I had to ask myself, what if this is normal? And the consequence of me answering, yes, it's normal, is that I just basically a kundalini looking wave. What's actually happening? That's the brain, the subconscious brain, the autonomic nervous system, learning to coordinate all of the parts of ourselves. It's actually learning to bring the parts that are working on different frequencies, different levels of vibration, different levels of openness, actually bringing them together. If you think about puzzle pieces, if you're just trying to put together a jigsaw puzzle, if the jigsaw puzzle is vibrating, if 2 pieces of jigsaw puzzle are vibrating at the exact same frequency, they can come together and they'll keep vibrating at that same frequency. So you can actually build from all these individual pieces a vibrating molecule. But all the pieces of the jigsaw puzzle need to be vibrating at the exact same rate. So they can just slide in together and keep going. Just like strumming 2 guitar strings that are the same string. Or 2 grandfather clocks whose pendulums are swinging. It's called entrainment. And when they entrain at the same rhythm, the same frequency, then, and that's actually just physics, that the whole room becomes more settled. It actually can see and feel itself. I shall continue. Okay, this occurs in our internal and external communities. So this is called communities. You think about yourself coming out and how vulnerable and open and maybe undefended you feel if your internal community isn't connected to itself, right? And so those of you who know about polyvagal theory, and other aspects of the nervous system is called, there's a buzz around nervous system regulation. And this is a lot of what the nervous system regulation is about. And the long-term goal, like, why would I care about nervous system regulation? Sure, get myself feeling safe, get myself out of the dark place, but then what? Why are we here? I think it's important to remember the big picture, like why we're actually getting out of bed and leaning towards a challenge. There's got to be a big enough reason to turn towards a challenge again and again and again and again and again, especially for some of you who've had the significant traumas that I know you have. So, because some of you have shared with me, what it is that you've gone through. Okay, we recognize that all of our choices are spiritual ones and affect all beings. Our dialogue runs as follows, quote, "At times I recognize that we are each other's medicine, and that first I must be my own medicine. My life and success in life is a function of the relationships that I share with others. I celebrate and receive divergent energies and help them to join, transforming them into new possibilities and love. I seek those parts of my body and life that have become separate and invite them to join the community of self and selves." So the picture again of when you see the work, when you see this, you see the brain actually moving in this wave, it's bringing the parts that have been disconnected, fragmented, which is what happens in trauma. And trauma is actually what happens to your internal community. It's not what happened to you in the big scary event or the consistent lack of love and lack of, or neglect and lack of adoration. That's a condition externally that stimulated your nervous system to go and fragment into different parts. And as long as you have different parts and I have different parts in here, there's this isolation. That's what happens. And isolation is, as I said in yesterday's video, more damaging than smoking a bunch of cigarettes every single day, because you don't have a coherent access to your purpose. Why am I here? Why would I get out of bed? I don't even have a purpose, so I've got no gift that I can bring. So now you feel like a net drain on the community. And then I can just litter on the planet. I can break, break rules because I'm not actually here for anything. Why am I here? So that's really what I wanted to share today, was a bigger, what's your bigger picture? How is it that you're moving today towards a felt sense of inclusion? Now, one thing I want to say is that our language is built in duality. Oftentimes, however, in order for me to find what my gift is, I do need to engage my broken self with the whole, with others. And here's why. Because we're actually fractal holographic beings. Now, a holographic being, or a holograph, is a picture. Now, a picture that's this size, if I shatter it and I take one little bit from this picture, if I shatter it like a glass mirror and I take one little bit, that one little bit, when you shine a light through it, it actually expresses the entire picture. So even if you're fragmented, even if you'll never be whole, because so much crap has happened to you in your life, you still have a gift that you can bring, because that gift that is in you is expressed through every little part of you. And you'll see that when you get out into the community and just do your best to be yourself. Because being yourself is going to have some kind of chemical interaction with others. And some part of you is going to start to show its natural vibration. And another person will actually start to naturally vibrate and entrain to that rhythm. And in that connection, there's a healing that happens. You actually start to move towards putting yourself together on the inside in this exchange with other people. This was something that I didn't get, especially before I started to see in my practice, and now in what I'm teaching in my, these videos and in my online course, is that just in the being aware and visually attending, visually tracking somebody else, we already start to vibrate together. And when you do it in a particular way, you get better and better and better results. So is that all I want to say? That might be. I'd recommend this book, especially if you want to have more of a deliberate practice and establish a deliberate practice with breathing in such a way that doesn't feel like it makes you more vulnerable or more disconnected. Because I know some of you, breathing exercises do that. And even in my yoga teacher training, some of the other students in the yoga teacher training would get panicky or anxious. And so I want to recognize that that is a real life experience for some of us, is that when we pay attention inward, our body goes into constriction because it's almost like it's too close, it's looking at the wound too closely. So there's a way that we can work around that. And we will get into some of that this coming Tuesday, October 22nd, 2024. And if you're watching this video afterward, I apologize. Likely there'll be more workshops coming up. The best way to track that is to get on the mailing list. And on the mailing list, I send videos with extra techniques, I said just extra deep dive information on what you can do, whether you're a healer when you're working with somebody else or to be working with yourself. I send extra videos with the mailing list so that because I know those people, or those of you who are on the mailing list, are really deeply connected and committed to working with yourself and moving forward, if you will, or really dropping into contentment in this world. So that's my recommendation. If you want more of this type of talk and techniques for that, then hop on the mailing list. And yeah, I mean, of course, subscribe to the channel and click the bell if you want to. You probably already know all about that. YouTube savvy peeps. Okay, thanks again for hanging out.